In this class number 7 of our course on electronics applied to refrigeration and air conditioning, we will explore in depth the operation of the IGBT transistor. To begin, it is important to point out that the IGBT transistor is composed of 3 fundamental pins called gate, collector, and emitter. The gate pin is responsible for controlling the turn-on and turn-off of the IGBT transistor, functioning as a control input that receives the signal from the control circuit or electronic driver. This activation is based on the polarization of the gate pin through the application of a voltage, which in typical HVAC and inverter applications is on the order of 12 volts, always measured with respect to the emitter pin. This voltage does not supply power energy, but instead acts only as a control signal. The polarization of the gate pin causes the IGBT transistor to behave like an electronic switch, so that when it receives the appropriate voltage, a conduction channel is internally enabled. From a functional point of view, it can be assumed that the transistor closes the circuit between the collector and emitter, thus allowing electric current to flow to the load, such as a compressor, motor, or fan. This process occurs in a fast and controlled manner, enabling efficient switching. To deactivate the IGBT transistor, it is necessary to remove the voltage applied to the gate or apply the corresponding deactivation level according to the circuit design. When the gate loses proper polarization, the transistor returns to its blocking state and stops the flow of electric current between collector and emitter, thereby ensuring safe shutdown of the device and preventing unnecessary consumption or fault conditions. IGBT transistors can be found both in discrete form as individual components mounted on heat sinks and integrated within electronic modules. A very common example in air conditioner electronic boards is the IPM, Intelligent Power Module, which internally integrates several IGBTs together with protection and control circuits. In these modules, the IGBTs regulate the current that powers the compressor and other motors of the system. Inside an IPM, multiple IGBTs are arranged in specific configurations that allow control of compressor and fan motors in air conditioning and refrigeration systems. This integration enables efficient, precise, and reliable control of electrical energy while also simplifying electronic board design and improving system protection against electrical faults. In the description of this video, you will find the link to access our complete course on electronics applied to air conditioning and refrigeration. Within an IPM, this same principle is applied in a coordinated manner among several IGBTs, which switch synchronously following signals generated by the control circuit. This switching makes it possible to generate modulated three-phase signals, which are essential for controlling the speed, torque, and efficiency of the inverter compressor, adapting its operation to the thermal demand of the system. The IGBT transistor acts as a power electronic switch, capable of allowing or blocking the flow of electric current in a fast and controlled way. This characteristic is fundamental in applications where it is necessary to turn on and off electrical loads at high frequency while maintaining efficient, precise operation with minimal energy losses. The integration of IGBT transistors within IPM modules enabled important advances in HVAC equipment design, such as reduced electronic board size, improved thermal dissipation, and a significant increase in protection level against abnormal conditions such as short circuits, overcurrent, overheating, and switching faults, thereby extending equipment service life. You can access our complete electronics course in HVAC and refrigeration in the description of this video. When the voltage difference between the gate and emitter pins increases, the conduction capability of the transistor also increases, allowing a greater current to flow between collector and emitter. This behavior shows that the IGBT regulates its conduction level directly according to the signal applied to the gate, enabling precise control of the power delivered to the load. You can enter our complete training in electronics applied to the refrigeration sector in the description of this video. Procedure to test the IGBT transistor. A. Before performing any measurement, it is essential to completely remove power from the equipment and ensure the circuit is fully discharged, including discharging capacitors through an appropriate electrical resistor. B. To test the IGBT transistor, it must first be deactivated. To do this, the gate must be previously discharged by momentarily short-circuiting the gate and emitter pins. Place either probe so that it touches gate and emitter at the same time. This step is essential because it eliminates any electrical charge stored in the gate, which could otherwise cause incorrect readings or unintended conduction during measurements. C. If the IGBT is mounted on the board and cannot be desoldered, it must be considered that other circuit paths may influence multimeter readings. For this reason, whenever possible, it is recommended to test the component outside the board, since this provides more reliable and accurate results. D. To verify a short circuit between collector and emitter, with the IGBT discharged and unpowered, set the multimeter to the megaohm scale and place one probe on the collector and the other on the emitter. Reverse the probes and repeat the measurement. The correct result is that there is no continuity and no low resistance, since the transistor must remain blocked in the absence of a gate signal. If 0 ohms or continuity beep is obtained, there is a direct short circuit, indicating that the IGBT is defective. Because the goal is to confirm total insulation, a scale capable of detecting even small leakage is required. If the multimeter is not auto-ranging, select the 20 megaohms position. E. To verify the gate insulation of the IGBT transistor, measurements must be taken between gate and emitter and between gate and collector in both directions. The correct result must be an open circuit reading or very high resistance, since the gate must remain completely isolated from the rest of the device. Any low reading indicates an internal transistor failure. It is important to remember that the IGBT gate is capacitive, meaning it can store electrical charge. Due to this characteristic, a small voltage applied to the gate may cause the IGBT to conduct temporarily, even after the voltage source is removed. F. Select the diode scale on the multimeter, since this function applies a small test current and allows visualization of diode-type voltage drops expressed in volts, such as values close to 0.5 volts, which are useful for identifying internal junctions, abnormal conduction states, and possible short circuits. With the multimeter in diode mode, use the probes to apply a small bias voltage to the gate of the IGBT transistor for 1 or 2 seconds. Then switch the multimeter to the resistance scale and measure the resistance between collector and emitter. The expected result is that the IGBT shows momentary conduction, confirming that the gate was charged. To turn off the transistor, short-circuit gate and emitter to discharge the gate and verify that the IGBT returns to its non-conductive state.